Puerto Rican kid, bald head, loves snakes, loves Blizzy, Sergio Chacon.
Yeah. What up, Pa?
Peace. Welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon, aka Blizzy Chacon. That shit whack. I mean, it's always gonna be Dirtbag Shit podcast. Peace and welcome to the DBS podcast, aka the Chacon Show. It's your boy Sergio Chacon in the house. Short leg Chacon, marathon all teeth Chacon, and I'm here with my sidekick, my girl Meg Fernandes.
Hey.
And comedian Derek Humphrey.
Woo. Hey, what's going on?
What's going on? Yo, let's just jump right into it. So I post on my IG stories that I run, and according to Meg, I'm annoying with
it's really fucking annoying.
It is?
Yeah, because there's no, as I was saying pre-pod, there's no like inspirational story behind it. You know, you've always been like fit. Nobody wants to see that you're still fucking fit. You know?
And like
we need
I said
drama. We need like a climax. You know, we need some.
How do you know I don't have two prosthetic legs?
I just learned that there's some part of your body that's prosthetic, but we're all trying to figure out which part it is.
It's definitely not your legs.
Right in.
I'm seeing them clearly.
You know, I have virtually no hair on my legs, as you know.
Yes, I've
I'm like a
heard.
Sphinx cat. And so people say that I have prosthetic legs.
Well, you know, you'd think if you got prosthetic legs, you would make them taller and longer.
Yo, I'm more torso and head.
You are a long torso. Listen, I have a dainty waist and I have a long torso. I feel you on that. I look. The kids in my neighborhood call me Mr. Incredible because I got
That's
the
adorable.
It is.
You
It is
do
like
children's parties. I want you to do something for my daughter.
Oh,
my God.
yeah, I'm game for whatever at this point. My schedule's open.
Which, by the way, the last time we were supposed to.
It was a year ago, like this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, a year ago this weekend, I was supposed to feature for you at Soul Joel's.
Right.
Yeah, and then it got canceled. And because I remember texting you like early on in March, and I was like, "Hey, are we still on for the show?" And you were like, "Nah, dog."
I know, it was so whack. So the pandemic,
Yeah.
COVID was a real aggressive, strong, muscular six-pack, just knocking shit off, just knocking people on their ass.
Wipe my calendar clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one day after the next. It's going boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
Isn't it bugged out how, like, in the midst of cancel culture, we had a...
Why does he look at me? He's looking at me.
Yeah, please explain.
We had a
We'll get to that.
conversation. We had a
In the midst
conversation.
of a cancel culture, like, everything was canceled.
Yes.
Everything was, like, everything was eliminated. Like, oh, you guys want to bitch about this and that? Clean all that. You guys are going to have to work out from home.
Yeah. Oh man,
mask
resistance bands. I lost 20 pounds during the pandemic and then gained 30. So it was a net gain of 10, and I'm very upset about it. I'm happy it's spring. I'm happy we're getting out.
Yeah, it's a light in here.
More. I hike now. My wife and I have been hiking for a long time. I don't run.
Where do you hike?
Upstate, like Bear Mountain, Breakneck Ridge, and whatnot. I haven't ran since the Navy, and it takes somebody yelling at me.
Shit, you were in the Navy. Okay,
Yeah,
right.
it takes somebody yelling at me to get me right, and my wife can't even do it. It's like you have no legal authority over me, so I'm not going to run. You know, but now we're getting into hiking. I'm trying to get back into it.
Bear Mountain is dope. You got black races out there. I'm quite the herp. A herp is a reptile.
Oh yeah, you're a snake dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen any animals on your travels?
No, but
Your
my
hikes?
podcast co-host Boris Hyken, I told him to go to Bear Mountain. First time he went, Rattler. right in his past, sent us pics. He was sending me pics. He's like, thanks for the recommendation.
What are you supposed to do when you see a rattler?
Go the other way.
Cool. Good,
Yeah.
Good. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Avoid conflict with the snake. That's number one rule.
Or throw it in a pillowcase and sell it on Craigslist.
Yeah, or hit up Sergio.
Huh? I got you. I'll take that off your hands quick, fast.
Yeah. He's always out on Tompkins with his snake.
I was never a snake dude growing up. Those guys were always, I grew up in Ohio in the 80s, and those guys who are always snake dudes were always like hair metal guys or like metal guys or whatever. And
leather vest, long ponytail.
Yeah. Those type of dudes were always snake dudes.
No
and,
eye contact.
Right. And I was always afraid of shit of them. I got one time I went to the zoo and the cobra hypnotized me from behind the glass and started striking the glass when I was like 5. Ever since then, I don't fuck with snakes. Oh, yeah.
That's like some Harry Potter shit, what you just described right there.
They put up, so at the Toledo Zoo is one of the best zoos in the entire world, swear to God.
Show off. The Bronx was holding it down.
Hey, the Bronx ain't got shit on Toledo in this one specific area. The rest of the culture, sure. They had these barriers up and said, don't go past here. And I, as a dumb 5-year-old kid, went under the barrier and I was knocking on the glass. So I deserved it. This black cobra just raised up and they just hypnotized you. They just stare right in your eyes, you know? And then I'm lost at it. And then he started striking the glass because he didn't know he couldn't get to me. Yeah, and I went screaming out of there. Haven't been in that place since. I won't go in the serpentarium.
Scared to death.
I'll go. I went in. I got a little bit older, but it took a while.
It's called a serpentarium. Is that what it's called?
Serpentarium. Yeah.
So it was like a reptile. It was like a
reptile house. Yeah. They have like what are those dragons from Japan?
The Komodo dragon.
Komodo dragon. I almost call them kimono dragon. Canceled like my schedule. Yeah. So.
Which, by the way, I had a client 5 years ago who told me I can't make the session today because I'm having a birthday. And we're all dressing up in kimono outfits, and we're gonna have sushi. And I was like, "Yo, is that cultural appropriation?"
Was she white?
Yeah, she was.
Of
real
course
white.
she was. Yeah. Of course she was.
And then I told another white friend of mine, she's like, "That sounds kind of cool." I was like, "Is that appropriate or is that dirtbag?" I don't know.
I see more white women carrying on the traditions of other cultures than I do the actual cultures. I think we should show white women a little appreciation.
I think so too. I don't think it's that bad of a deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what a gay show looked like if it weren't for white women.
Oh my God.
What's your thoughts, Meg?
Yeah.
No, I think we should defer to the white man on this. This is more credit for white women. You also heard it here first.
Yeah, listen, there's only, my wife's white. What am I going to do?
My wife white. But that was very black. My wife white. My wife white.
It'd be better if your wife was Japanese for this story, though. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah. No, my wife's as white as they come.
You know what annoys me? A lot of things about white women annoy me, but when I see them on an elephant, elephant, I'm like, get the fuck off that majestic beast. You're just like that. Owning it on a fucking beautiful creature.
How often does this image come
all over Instagram?
Okay.
All over. I guess I've never been on Tinder, but I guess a lot of people post their animal pictures on there for their profile pictures, like dudes with tigers or girls on the elephants. Yeah, no, I get that. And for
Puerto Ricans with their snakes.
Yep.
We all ain't shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so no one's exempt.
Can I ask you about the Navy? Am I allowed to start the conversation?
Yes.
Because that is something I know nothing about. So
here we go. Now she's hitting on my guest. Military men is her forte.
I also told Sergio before this that I was going to try not to be too funny today because he felt a little showed up in his last talk, and I was like, "You're the host. I'm going to try and just be very demure and sit here, it's very demure."
I'll pull the plug on your mic.
I appreciate you deferring to a man.
Yes. And so please tell me about the military and
I was poor in Ohio, and the only way you can get out of, well, not the only way. If you're smart and capable and have a good upbringing, there are many ways to get out of Ohio. But if you're dumb, run afoul of the law, and refuse to listen to the better judgment of your elders and peers, you join the Navy. And I just, I was living in a studio apartment, putting myself through college, and was hating. I was like, my future is going to end up in this Applebee's or wherever I'm at if I don't get out of here. And I've been an avid reader. I read a bunch. I was like, I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna join the military. And all the other branches, they just put you in a place and you stay there. You know, like if I join the Marines, I might end up in, middle of nowhere, California, and never get to see anywhere of the world. At least with the Navy at the time that I joined, they were traveling a lot and seeing a lot of the world. So I joined in 2000. Okay. Yeah. And so, it was a much different culture than from what went on later on. So
where'd you go?
Chicago, Norfolk, Virginia was where I was stationed, but then went to Europe a couple times, went to the Middle East, all up and down the East Coast and stuff. And
it's like a cruise where you stop for a little bit
It
And
is.
then you get the fuck out, or can you chill there for? How does it work? Or it's different each and every time.
It's different every time. It depends on what you got to do. I was ignorant. I was like, oh, the Navy just must float around the world and just travel.
That's what, in my head also.
Right. So one time we went to Norway, and we brought on Norwegian officers and diplomats because we were selling them our technology, and we had to demonstrate like how it worked. I was on an Aegis class battleship destroyer, right, which was like one of the new specific style of it and whatnot. And so we developed the technology. We need to be able to pay for it. Right. America's very good at exporting military stuff and black culture, and that's our two top imports in the world. And number one for sure is the military-industrial complex. And so we were selling them, so they had to come on board and see how it is. So we go to Norway for it's like there's no way we're not going to go to Norway. We're already here. We're going to refuel. We're going to put some stuff on. So we went to Norway for 4 days. We were in Oslo. I went to Lillehammer. I went skiing for the very first time at 22 years old. In a place where they had the Olympics, right? And they still had they carved out the Olympic symbol in the trees, not in a tree. They cleared out trees in the side of the mountain so you could see where the Olympics were. They had that symbol there. And there I am falling down the mountain in blue jeans, getting laughed at by 8-year-old children, Norwegian kids. So
those kids come out knowing how to ski too.
They do.
They are good at winter sports.
Man, skiing is a very specific cultural thing to those people because
speaking of white women, skiing.
Speaking of white women.
It requires too much damn equipment.
It's a lot of equipment. It's expensive as fuck also. And you need right conditions, right?
My favorite dirtbag moment though, when I was there was that I got tired of hurting myself. I was on the second day at the slopes, I'm just going to go to the cafe and get drunk. And drinking Carlsberg beer, sitting there near some of my wounds, and I was like, no, this kind of sucks.
Wounds is your
wounds. Nursing my wounds. Sorry.
It's English, sir.
No.
I think he was referring to his comrades. I thought, they called them loons. I like that. I'm gonna bring that back to the street. That's my loon right there. Xavier.
Actually, you pulled it off. It does sound
right.
Right?
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah. My lack of enunciation does not.
So you're licking your wounds all fucked up.
Yeah. And then this bus pulls up. And it's the female Norwegian ski team gets off the bus, and I'm just, as a 22-year-old, just oogling and trying to figure out. I tried to because Norwegian people, they all speak 4 languages. Every
European friend
Every
I know,
European,
they got they're so advanced with 4 different languages. They speak English better than I do, and they're fucking annoying.
Right, and there I am standing
Spanish better than I do. That's what I meant. I'm fucking
loons.
Loons. There I am standing in a pea coat and jeans, and I'm like, what are you guys up to? Then I'm drinking a beer. I'm like, I'm a world traveler. I'm American. Have you ever heard of us? It sounds like a complete fucking
Blue
idiot.
jean skiing, though. I like that image. That's vivid.
A very Larry the Cable Guy-ish. So some places we pulled in, and then at a certain point, as hostilities around the world grew with America,
What do you mean?
You faked an injury and then you started stand up.
No.
Come on, it's time the real dirtbag story.
No, well, the real reason. Well, I didn't even get into stand up until years after, because stand up's not a thing that you're from New York, right? Mm-hmm. There's always been stand up comedy here and stand up comedy culture. Where I come from in Toledo, we had one comedy club, and I'll be damned if anybody knew how to be a comedian. You had to go to
you had
Chicago.
The Funny Bone?
No, we didn't have a funny bone. We didn't have nothing. We had a hole in the wall. A place that's no bigger than a studio with a bar.
That's probably better than the Funny Bone. Funny Bone is a very corporate comedy club where the waitresses and waiters usually, not all, don't give a shit. They don't give you eye contact. You're walking. It's $15. I'm like, I'm actually... on the show.
You can see my picture right there. I'm next to Dustin Diamond. Yeah.
Yo, no one gave a shit when Dustin Diamond died.
Dude,
he was
have you ever met him?
Kind of fucked up, though.
Have you ever met him?
No, but I heard he was a dirtbag. Rest in peace, Dustin Diamond.
I heard he was the worst dirtbag.
Yeah, I heard he was. I heard he wasn't a nice guy, and I think it's showing with the way people are responding to his death, because he got 30 seconds of R.I.P.
Yeah, and then somebody else less consequential than Dustin Diamond died. I can't remember. And they moved on to like the next person who passed away. Were you affected by Screech dying?
I was not at all.
Wow,
Not at all.
you're young, if
Thank
I'm not
you.
mistaken. You're probably, what, 27,
Oh
28?
my God. What are you doing afterwards?
So you probably didn't grow up with Saved by the Bell.
I did grow up.
40?
I'm old.
Yeah, 41.
He's mad
41,
old, yeah.
42. Okay. You did not?
I did. No, I grew up with Saved by the
Okay.
Bell. Yeah.
That was very influential on like young years. I always thought Screech was like a much maligned character, and then turns out he was a dweeb in real life.
Yeah, he seemed like a very angry person.
Yeah.
Yo, let go of that shit. Whatever the fuck it is. I don't know what happens to people. Let go. I get it.
He's
People are still
dead.
calling.
What do you?
No, other
You're
people.
really flipping out right now. I'm like, he's dead, bro.
The talk like he's my father, right? Like, yeah, I was mad at my father. After he died, I used to look at his urn like, you're taking up too much space. You're annoying. I was calling my sister, you want to take dad? He's in a Timberland shoebox. Come on, get him a real urn.
Oh, my God.
Your dad was in a box?
For a long time, we had him cremated, and we had him in a shoebox. And then we upgraded him to a Timberland shoebox. Then we finally got him a real urn that was the color of this couch.
Did it have like a Yankee fitted like on the...
It had a cocaine straw embroidered in it.
Man, see, my dad...
Carved in it.
My dad, as last I know, he's also in a box. In the box they put you in when they cremate you, he's on a shelf in a garage in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken, and nobody's gone to claim him whatsoever. He was a real dirtbag. And so, like, it's interesting that you say, I feel better now knowing that I'm
you're
not,
both have
that
your
I'm not the
fathers
only
in a
person
box?
with box dad.
Wait, so where's
With a dad you can send via UPS. You know?
Right. But the first time my father was delivered, I was like 9 or 10 years old. He was delivered to my mom, and the mailman, UPS brought him, and he was like, "Got a package for you." And my mother opens it and says, "Yeah, it's my husband you have in your hand." And he was like, "Oh,
Oh
sorry."
my
Like, no, it's
God.
fine. And we had him just like it still had the mail tape on it. For years.
Oh, man,
With like
yeah.
an inch of dust, and I put his old Aramis cologne on top of it.
Do you want to go sprinkle that in the water or something?
No, my
Do
sister
some
has him
ritual?
now.
Okay.
Yeah, my sister has
Is she
him.
attached?
No, we're different.
It's just, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the urn was nice. I was like, the urn was nice. But after a while, it's just like,
If it was a relative I were close with, I suppose.
so
I
you
would
weren't close
care.
to your pops.
No, So I suppose I would care more if it were like my good cousin.
Was your pops around?
Infrequently. He was criminal. Him
What kind
and
of criminal activity? That's always fun.
some B&E, some assault,
Wait,
drug
what's
stuff,
B&Es?
breaking and entering.
Oh, big. Oh,
Yeah.
Yo,
He- well, he-
You're losing your cred. Even
Wait,
I know that.
no. I didn't know that. That's just not like that's like cop talk though. Because you know what criminals?
I do have cop
No,
pay.
tell me what the criminals
They say doing cribs.
Okay, doing cribs. Okay, with my loons.
It's true. I'm very familiar. Me and my loons go check out the court system.
So breaking and
Everything.
entering.
He was he was a drug addict, so he did all the things that you have to do to support your drug habit.
Right.
Sticking people up, or breaking and stealing stuff, selling your kids Atari, all that.
Yo,
sort of crap.
that shit hit you.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Some of your kids Atari.
Oh no, I have a joke about it because my wife's a white lady, and she
Who we honor for
No.
how much they're keeping up Asian culture. among
right,
other things.
absolutely, yeah. We're having sushi tonight, but she's hand rolling it.
Checking with your Asian
She's
friends.
authentic.
Like her ancestors. So no, but she in our marriage is the top of the power dynamic, yet she doesn't recognize that all the time, and so I have to like kind of remind her like, hey, you got money via X, Y, and Z. My dad stole my video games growing up, like to sell
So
them for
you
junk.
can win every argument that way.
No, but I at least try.
70%.
Yeah, I get some out of there. But yeah, when I was a kid, like he did that sort of shit. So like we weren't close, and I wanted him to be, but he wasn't interested because I guess like heroin's like really cool. So
That's a tough one to kick.
I
Is
know.
he still alive?
oh no,
He's in the
dead.
box.
He's in the
Oh,
box.
that's right.
Damn.
My bad.
Damn.
I had a boxing head moment.
Yeah.
I've been hit quite a few times.
You don't have to
My
tell
bad.
me.
I've
What a
heard-
what a
I heard
careful
about-
listener you are.
I've heard about you for years.
That's why I have Megan here
Yeah.
because she picks up the slack.
Wait, you heard about? I want to know this. You
What?
leave. What did you hear about him?
Oh no, I mean I didn't wasn't any formally introduced to him until like last year, and that was just over through Ian. Right. But I had heard.
Ian? I'm kidding. Like, yo, Sergio suffered dementia.
No, but I had heard about Sergio for a long. I've been in New York 9 years, and the first few years of it were like basically bar show, open mic comedy, sort of thing. And I started to get better and like working in the clubs. And I had heard about, you, Giannis, and Chris D, and all these guys or whatever. And then it was also like, oh yeah, by the way, Sergio will fuck you up.
And I'm the nicest guy.
No, not like I talk to a lot of guys who are in the fight game and comedy or like box or do the MMA stuff, and it just comes up like in that vernacular,
right.
You know, or whatever. I also heard he's a very nice guy as well. I've heard a lot of only positive things.
Oh, this is making me feel bad.
Or else I wouldn't be here.
Sure.
You know what I'm holding on to? The fact that I forgot that his father died.
Yeah, I can't stop thinking about it.
That's jarring.
Like afterwards, you got to do some like PowerPoint on like emotional intelligence from from HR after this shit.
Yeah,
like, I was like,
that's not very becoming.
It's okay, dude. It's okay. It's not a super funny topic to talk about.
No. But I was interested in it, and we were just talking about. That's weird of me. That's very strange.
That's all right.
He goes deep. So let me ask you: did you move to New York to do comedy? See how I'm trying to distance from this faux pas that you've just done yet?
Yeah. Basically, I had a good job. I lived in South Carolina, Charleston.
Yeah.
I went there after the military because my parents were there, and I have two little brothers who they're 20 years younger than me. And
Are you an eldest? Kind of like eldest only?
I am an only. They're half brothers.
Okay,
I should have qualified that. I call my stepdad my dad because he came around when I was 12, and he was the primary.
You close to your half brothers?
Yes.
That's good.
Oh, I have another half brother, and I had a half sister that from my father, who I'm not close to my half brother at all. We because I think it's because we have my dad in common, and we both like didn't like our dad so much that we see too much of our dad in each other, so we just stay away.
That's weird.
It is fucked up, but it's like, what are you gonna do? You know,
You can't be close to everyone. You got to fucking pick some people.
we didn't grow up together,
Yeah.
and we were kept apart by him. So it's like we just didn't have that quality. My little brothers, though, I moved to Charleston to be like my parents. My mom was like 41 when she had them, and my stepdad was like 46. They were older, and so as the kids get older, I felt like I wanted to be around them. I never had like a nuclear family like that, and then also like my parents, like I knew one weekend I helped them move. I helped them move and set up like my little brother's like fort in their backyard and stuff like that. And like I was like, I need to be around more to be like physical and like laborious with these like young kids with them. And I wanted to be anyways. And Charleston's a badass place. So I moved there, and then they had like a small kind of comedy scene, and I did really well in that. And I was like, well, I'm going to go.
And give it a shot. Can I ask you, because I'm not a comedian. I know you can't tell, but I'm trying really hard
You've been
to just be
cracking
as
me up.
serious as possible because, I made the promise. What's the best?
Don't get fired on your first day.
Best comedy club in New York City? Is this a controversial question?
I would say the Cellar is the mecca of comedy in the world.
Right,
and
yeah.
It happens to be on Bleecker Street.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. As a person who doesn't perform there, I would have. That's the only place I really don't like perform, and I never asked, and I haven't like, and I've gotten one like recommendation, and I've been like, no. Because I just wanted to be ready. Now I feel like I'm probably fine, but like, anyways, but yeah, I would have to say that. But I like to stand a lot as well. When comedy happens, I had a monthly show over there, and audiences are always awesome over there.
One thing about the stand that they borrowed a lot of their. The physical makeup of from the Cellar. Like I feel like they're trying to go for that, which is great. They bought a lot of the good shit that makes the Cellar great. It's intimate.
Yeah.
They have a high regard. They hold the comics in high regard.
Yeah.
They don't do a check spot.
Right.
Which is fucking awesome. Have you ever noticed that? You ever been to a comedy club?
I've been to the Cellar a bunch of times, but yeah.
They do those checks after the show, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Like, you know how many times I'm at a fucking show
I didn't think about this, of course.
and then they drop the checks. It's usually so I'm on the road a lot. So I'm good. That's an easy spot. The 20 to 30 minutes, I fucking get my rocks off. They drop the checks on the headliner. Fucking guys, 30 minutes into his set, and they're like, you gotta get one more drink, and here's your bill. That shit sucks.
Yeah.
And in the
Think about
city,
that.
there's showcase shows where you have 6 comics, right? Showcase show.
Right, yeah.
Everyone doing 15, 10 minutes, whatever the fuck. And then, second to the last comic, they drop the checks on you. It's just annoying. You know, also, the stand and the seller, I don't know if the seller, but they don't push you for they don't give you a 2-drink minimum, which is nice. That's just outdated. Motherfuckers are gonna drink. You don't have to tell them you
Right.
gotta have 2
Yeah.
drinks.
Yeah.
That's so old school. It's not primitive.
Because there are some
Yeah.
clubs around here, that's their whole business model is you have to do the 2-drink sort of thing. And like a lot of these places, they're smart. They know that most of people going to the comedy clubs, especially if you're in New York, have money, you're going to spend the money, you're going out to have a good time anyways.
Of
So
course.
don't put the pressure on. Also, the stand has good food as well, which is helpful to them. You know, some of these other places, they just pick nachos off the ground and put them in a basket and throw them at you, sort of thing. So it's kind of, gross.
Yeah. The stand has really good food. Like, it's almost like too good. Like, you can go there and not even go for fucking comedy. I'll go there to eat before I watch an act. you know?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I was heartbroken. So one of the partners at the stand, Dave Kimmelwitz, he passed away, and I used to train him.
Did you really?
I trained him, so that says a lot about my boxing. He was killed. My boxing skills as a trainer sucked because he didn't make it. So what the fuck? Like, that's not a good. That's not a good selling point.
Man, that's so.
Oh my God.
So listen, if you book me to train you,
You will
chances
not
are
survive. You will not
you
survive.
might not
a real
survive,
fight.
but motherfucker.
Yeah.
I think he would appreciate that. I love that guy, and it's so. I mean, it was jarring to me that how sudden, and it was just like, oh my God. I read text messages. You ever do that shit? Read text messages from a dead person.
Yeah.
And I was like. I held them, and then I was like, yo, you're taking way too much memory. I had to delete this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
You can just upgrade your phone also, get more memory. You know, be like, nah.
Yeah, but that requires me doing research where I can just delete.
Yeah.
No, I still got the text messages saved. But I had a situation where it's like, social media wise, I'm trying to keep my following up, followers down. When is it appropriate to delete a dead Facebook or Instagram friend?
Good question, because my sister died and her Facebook was still up and it was depressing as shit to see. So I like unfriend her. It's like we had and the thing was too is like she was really big into The Walking Dead when she died, and like her profile picture was like it was Daryl from The Walking Dead, the guy with the crossbow, and it said zombie hunter, and I was like, oh man, Daryl would come for my sister, right? she's dead. And it's just the irony of it. It's like so fucked up that I'm like, man, I can't look at this anymore. And her profile's still up because I'll look every now and again to look on there to see if her goddamn mother would just take it the fuck off. But nope, it's still there.
This fucking there.
The thing is too is her mom. I hate her mom. And her mom.
We need like a family tree, I
got a family like thorn bush. This woman's not related to me, but she will tag her daughter in it and be like, I miss my daughter so much or whatever and all this shit. And it's like, you're only getting 2 likes. Why are you doing this?
I know.
Like, what's the need?
It feels like performative to you or something.
Well, at this point, it's like you need help.
Yeah.
You're a woman who's, I think she's like close to 60 or no, she's not even that much older than me. You're older and old enough to know better, but she was trash from the start. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Like she probably still has like Beanie Babies or something like that. Like, and so you're right. I don't know when the time is. Like, I'm going to delete all my social media now.
So I deleted a friend that I absolutely love because his social media presence was whack. Like, he had the food with a fucked up phone, and this before he died. So I followed him because he wasn't active, but he was my man. So
Yeah.
I would like text him,
Yeah.
and we were like real friends.
Yeah.
Right.
But so when he died, I tried to friend him again. Like, I tried to follow him again just to look at old photos, and he's private. But the only thing I'm missing is a fucking bowl of nachos. That's all I'm missing. He had like 4 pictures.
Right.
But I did feel a little bit.
You felt like bad.
God damn, I
Yeah.
did unfollow him.
Yeah.
He had a bowl of nachos and like his name on a club. Grub from like 2012.
Right. I had to unfollow friends during the Trump presidency because it's not that like I don't like agree with like what they're saying necessarily. I disagreed with how often they were saying it and for how long they were saying it and the language they were using to say it. It's like, we get it. You're not a fan. Nobody really kind of is. I get the need to post or whatever, but like, come on, dog.
It's too much. And it also it's not my energy throughout the day.
It's such an emotional suck. It like sucks your fuck. It creates a void in
dogs. Like every day. And we talked about this. This might be redundant, but this is redundant. At least it's positive. Like I'm talking about how I feel in my day with the disciplines and good people who I enjoy. It's that's the shit I'm fucking with, and that's it.
Right.
So when I hear this shit being played over and over, like I was talking to someone, my mother hated Trump so much. I love my mom.
Yeah.
Me and my mom is gangster type. Like, yo, I love her. I love her stories. I love her knowledge. She gives me a wealth of knowledge. She's a funny person. But then when I was visiting her, it's like, oh, I hate that motherfucker. He should be at you know what she said? She said he should be in a shooting squad.
Like a firing squad.
A firing squad. I was like,
Yeah.
Mom, you can't talk like that.
God, I love your mother.
Yeah.
All your mom stories, I'm like, oh.
She said that shit more than once. I was like, Mom, you can't harbor that sort of hate.
Right.
Like, come on. You know.
Yeah.
I guess you can.
You
I don't think
can,
it's
but
healthy.
it doesn't seem healthy. And so I hate having to log in to promote stuff or whatever. And then and it's a networking thing where people are like, some of these clubs I perform on the independently booked shows. So those people, I know them through social media. So I have to be able to DM them or to get notifications that they're tagging me or whatever. And it's just like, I just don't want to deal with this. Like I would try to get my wife to do it for me. And she's like, I have a real job.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't your wife like
She's
an
like,
educator of children?
Yeah. She's like, I'm sorry I'm teaching hundreds of children. I can't manage your Facebook, you fucking dork.
Oh, my God. I
was like, you don't understand the mental toll this is taking on me as she's dealing with fucking
like a lesson
parents.
plan during a pandemic.
It really does. So I think it's like scheduling that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Is important. I mean, even just recently with all the Asian, discrimination, the hate you got going on. Yo, listen, that's a battle that needs to be fought. Like that shit is super dirtbag. But and I think we were talking about this earlier. But when certain people do it, and you can tell they're fucking doing it just to be part of. Is this a good word? Populace.
Sure.
Is that right? Part of it, they want to be popular with it. It's like motherfuckers. Like I don't believe you. And why am I letting that shit affect me?
We'll stop Asian hate when it starts to affect the white women who are
white women
engaging in the culture.
Who are upholding the traditions.
Who are upholding the
East and
traditions.
South Asia, yoga,
Exactly,
etc.
thank you.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you because I mean, it is. It's obviously an issue. It's something that needs to be addressed, but we don't have a healthy discourse on it.
I think it's more like a lot of people do it for cover, right? Like a lot of people, let's say white people in particular, during the Black Lives Matter, fucking Bank of America, we were saying, right? They're posting this shit as a way to be like, but we did the right thing. So it becomes this moralization banner, right? It becomes this way to signify solidarity, even though you're not really changing anything about your policies. You're not maybe changing things about your structure. You just realize that it can all of a sudden become something you can commodify into seeming woke or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
That I'm deeply suspect of. Because the truth is all men participate in misogyny and patriarchy. All white people and including, and not, I would say all non-black people participate in anti-blackness consciously and unconsciously, because we're all breathing the same air, and the air is white supremacy.
Absolutely.
And patriarchy.
Everyone has a little bit of dirtbag in them.
Yeah, and I think we could do children's birthday parties, the three of us. I think between the dad boxes and this level of conversation, I think children's birthday parties and your Incredibles uniform
Right, yeah, blue jeans.
You have
100.
kids, Derek?
No.
Like you're not even trying.
Well,
You're not fucking.
actually, if
Oh my God, Serge.
I should go back to Paris and see if I do have a kid, but
You got sex tape
No, I'm
out.
kidding.
You at least have a sex tape out.
no, we have
on a
my wife and I
VHS.
have a healthy sexual relationship, and we are.
Do you have to bother her about it, or she's good?
No, it's a back and forth.
That's great.
Yeah,
It's
she's
healthy.
like, I mean, now that
Accept that.
now that I'm 42 and I've been around, it's
Tupac.
no, it is like more her sometimes for sure. I'll admit to that, but it's like it's not that I'm not interested. It's like I'm not around, and
I got a spot.
right, yeah,
I'm doing
yeah.
it.
Well, the thing is though is I don't like to have sex if I'm going to do a show. Because like it's not
You
that
need the nervous energy.
kind of yeah, and it's just like the freneticness of it sort of thing. It's like, well, it's all right. What else do I really need to do today? I've accomplished everything that matters. Fuck art.
It's like task and reward. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I hate when my wife is being like I could tell that it's coming around. Like she's had enough of me being acting like a monk, and for whatever reason I'm just like running all my energy away, and then it's like I can feel like she's looking at me like you better and it's like and it's like that pressure, and I'm like
Right.
now I'm like my palms are sweaty. I'm like and I'm like stressing.
How long you been married for?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah, he's like, well, interesting, Serge. You're married, but you don't have a ring. So it's just a serious.
I wasn't gonna say it, but now because I didn't notice it.
He's a
but-
boxer, though. I think it's hard, maybe, right? If
Thank
you're
you
boxing
for
to have
saving
a
me on that
ring.
one.
Yeah.
No, since the COVID hit, I took off the ring. I never put it back on. She doesn't wear her ring either because her ring looks cheap as fuck. It's the color of a He-Man ring, like a blue, and it's super cheap looking. And mine has like an owl on it, but I took it off because I just wasn't.
Did you choose her ring?
No, she chose it, and I hate that ring. I'm like, man, it's an ugly ring.
Yeah,
babe.
get her a better
I think,
ring.
yeah. You know what?
Yeah. Look at he's scratching his beard.
No.
He's really thinking about what he's
I
gonna do.
got her some. I got her a cat with a smashed face. That should hold her down for at least 10, 12 years.
Didn't they get that cat without you?
Yeah, well, my money.
Yeah. Oh.
well, that's there you go.
right.
You provided.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how.
Like things that matter.
Yeah, of
cuteness,
course.
everyday cuteness.
And things that have, a lifespan of 18 years. So that's good. You know?
you have a child.
Yes,
How old?
she's 9.
9. Oh, same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No.
Same lady?
No, I mean, you never know.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
You
mean,
you
this
are
guy,
Puerto
come on.
Rican.
Ooh. Jesus.
Liz is the one that has kids from another marriage. She has 3 kids from another marriage. Great kids, a little
You
older.
close to them, though, right?
Mad close.
I like that. I love that. Because, and also with the daughter, right? The
Yeah.
cop, right? Yeah.
She's a cop.
Oh wow.
So I was out there with Ian Finance at the protest. The police need to go down. And I had to send her a note. I love you very much. Don't take it personal. I
Right.
sent her a text.
Yeah. I got uncles I got an uncle and a cousin who are cops, and they're not bad guys. They're good. I mean, like as far as I know. I mean, like I'd like to think they're not.
Were you in New York the whole pandemic then?
Yeah.
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 I know.
Yeah, we moved during it. But I was when I was living in Brooklyn, it's much easier to get over to the protests. So I went a few times, and I purposefully didn't post like all the times that I went because I didn't want to be that person and be like, look what I'm doing. Honestly, for a lot of it, it was me just observing and hearing what people had to say versus being like an active, like, I'm going to throw rocks at you participant. And I was really interested each time that I went out, mainly in how the media treated the event. Because, I mean, the media was the one who was making the most bank off of all of it. All the stores and everything, they're losing money and everything like that. The people who are poor, who are rallying and fighting, they're losing money, but everybody's watching the news. And so
And your dad's a communications professor.
and my dad's a communications professor for sure. And it's not that I'm like trying to be conspiratorial, but it is a thing. It's like we have a for-profit news system. They're going to be interested in what's going to garner the most views for their shit or whatever.
I enjoyed the protest, the energy of young young people.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
those young people.
Yeah, man, I was super inspired by it. I went out a few times, and I needed that. I needed to just hear it and feel it and just
and
be
just
a spectator.
be with people,
Yeah,
right?
it felt
like,
good.
Also, proximity to other people felt radical at that time because nobody was going out.
That's
right?
exactly right. And for the most part, it was real uplifting, positive.
Yeah.
And it was dope. But every now and then, there's dirt bags sprinkled everywhere. There was a dude without a shirt on his bike. And I knew him because he used to go to my fucking gym, dyed black hair. I'm like, he's not here to fucking liberate people. He's here to fuck.
Oh yeah.
yeah, he's looking for-
I was like, this guy's
Yeah.
trying to fuck.
Yeah.
He's looking for protest.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get me some protest pussy.
Listen, you can do many things at once. Like the bird and the stones. It's fine.
I guess, but I wasn't buying it. It pissed me off. It's like he doesn't even have a real name. His name is like fucking Flame.
Oh yeah,
My name
he
is
made it like a
Flame.
made up name.
Yeah, my name is Flame, and
Flame.
I do yoga, boxing. I'm also into CrossFit.
He sounds great. The more details you're
And
getting.
his lower jaw
And
just
he's
protrude.
socially conscious.
Yeah, and I'm
And he's
socially
socially conscious.
Yeah, so I'm coming out with a record. It's alternative rap, rock.
He's getting footage for the gram.
Are you
I
into
respect
MF
that.
Doom? Because that's what I do
Yeah,
as well.
I like more of an underground feel, gritty sound like the Wu-Tang Clan. They're a great band. If you call a rap group a band, you're a dirtbag. Those motherfuckers do not play instruments.
Only the Roots.
Only the Roots. Philly
Oh.
stand up.
Only the Roots.
She's from Philly.
I am.
I met Black Thought, and I was such a dork.
You
my
met
friend
Black
did. My
Thought,
friend did
yeah.
Fallon, and I was walking out with him afterwards, and he was right there, and I was like, "I love you, man. Oh my god, the Things Fall Apart is amazing." He was so nice. He was like, "Oh, thanks, man." I'm like, "Why are you thanking me?" "Oh yeah, I compliment you. I'll see you later, man." I'm gonna go
Fangirl.
here. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, every rapper or musician I met, they love stand up. Like, they
Yeah.
are so appreciative and super dope.
I got friends
when it
who
comes to
are
that.
musicians in Nashville, and I would go hang out in Nashville because I like being around musicians. I mean, hanging out with stand-ups is cool, but like I can't
No,
play music.
I love music.
Yeah, oh,
I'd
yeah,
rather
yeah.
go to fucking see a band or my favorite musician.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I could give a fuck about comedy, but like, but I was hanging out with a guy who plays bass. He plays bass like as a touring bassist for like Kelly Clarkson and Taylor Swift. And like last I saw his Instagram, it was like last year he was playing at the Brooklyn Bridge, some venue over there. Thousands of people for like TV and whatnot. And he's like telling me at a bar, he's like, "I'd like to try stand-up comedy." I'm like, "Why?" Why? Let me tell you, no, you're not funny because you're talented at music. It's one or the other. You can't have both. And he's like
Greedy.
hot. And he's
Yeah, fuck
attractive.
I don't trust like attractive comedians, like hyper attractive comedians. Like, that's you got to look a little gritty. You got to look like you've been through some shit.
That's the thing is I was going to the protest until too many people thought I was a cop. And so I'm like, I'm not handsome like I was in my 20s. I'm perfect for comedy. I'm goofy enough looking.
Wait, everybody thought you were like undercover.
I kept getting weird looks.
Okay.
And like I get it, I'm 6'3" Aryan looking dude.
You're wearing like the
I'm all
full-
black. Yeah. I wear all black. I had a black
You had
mask
the earpiece
on.
in, so yeah.
Right. Yeah. I have my headphones on for part of it or whatever. So it's like I imagine I probably did look like suspicious and whatnot. But and then real cops looked at me like I was, I'm getting double glances. Like, is he one of us or one of them? Either way, he's dangerous. Like, so
You sounded like you had a really isolated experience.
I did.
on
Yeah,
either
it was.
side of these protests.
It was
Just
uncomfortable.
alone, both
Listen,
sides walking away from you.
I was a part of the Black Lives Matter movement because I felt uncomfortable through the whole process. Now I mean, like, I was happy to support, and I had a lot of conservative friends from back in Ohio who were like, "Why are you like what's going on?
You hate
Like,
America? Is that what they think? Like, or
I'm sorry.
what do they think? What do they?
They're like they didn't understand it whatsoever, and I'm like, come on. Like they well, that's the thing about the media narrative was like, you're only seeing like, so many people were sending me like videos and photos of like New York's out of control. It's like, dude, they busted up one store. It's like, you have no idea. And it wasn't
That happens not even in the pandemic time.
right. And it also wasn't done. Here's the thing though about the Black Lives Matter protests was that during a lot of the Black Lives parts of it were very calm, peaceful, and insightful. It's when these rich white kids showed up and started ratcheting shit up with the cops directly that things like started to turn tense. It was all the kids who just moved here from Amherst, who met black people for the first time, and they're like, oh, we didn't know about your experience our whole lives growing up. We're going to overcorrect, take our dad's credit card, buy some Antifa gear, and come out swinging. And it's like putting the black people in danger that you're supposed to be there like sticking up for. So that part I did not enjoy.
And they put a magnifying glass on young black people who were, running into stores, which was very small percentage. That was a small percentage.
Right.
And you know what? These motherfuckers they're fucking poor. That's what fucking people
Also,
do.
like, I literally don't give a shit
about a corporate
Ann Taylor.
losing. Yeah, exactly. Macy's.
Ann Taylor is not an altar.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. But there's something interesting about those images because, like, people really grieved over them. Like, these, like, broken windows. They're like, oh, like, I'm like, it's not a fucking cathedral. They'll rebuild that shit.
The corporate ones I definitely could give a fuck about. Like,
But
the small
they
businesses.
put a lot of attention on that.
Yeah, the small business. Well, because that's the thing that, like, a lot of Americans in the middle of the country, they don't own a business, but they do shop at Target, they do shop at these stores or whatever. So that's like a psychological, like, kind of like earmark for them to be like, oh, that's something I wouldn't stand for in my town.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the small businesses anymore because they're getting priced out of their.
But then what does it mean, like, to give more of a shit about, like, the private property of this giant corporation than for, like, Black lives? Like, that same energy, that same outrage you have, you can redirect towards human life. That is a little bit like what I find kind of interesting about people who are like, I'm okay when it's peaceful, but like if God forbid, like a multi-million, billion-dollar probably like company gets their window broken on like Fifth Avenue, like fuck off, it's fine. Like
I mean, like if philosophically, intrinsically, I'm completely okay with that as well. I suppose it's like this thing of like, if you're painting a picture throughout culture that Black lives and young black men and whatnot are only this sort of stereotype, when you can create another media narrative featuring them, like seeing like a very small percentage of it, you're only reinforcing that stereotype. It's a stupid thing where it's like like black people are being forced to, in the sense, like, have to be the better person, which they shouldn't have to be, because they are that's what we're talking about, is them being disenfranchised. And so when you create these media narratives that there are just exclusively black people breaking into these corporate places or destroying or whatever, it's easier for that person to be like, well, Trump's the only one who's going to stop it. We need to have authority because our society is crumbling down. These stereotypes are true when it's not necessarily the case.
I guess what I'm saying, and then we can be funny again, I promise. But I guess what I'm saying is that, what does it mean to like have faith and like have outrage for a store? I mean, literally like clothes, like objects, than it does for a people. So like if I'm thinking about somebody,
oh, for sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's like, how do you unlink that shit? Because that seems to be like the illness. That's the illness there. Right?
I think the thing is, though, if you ask your average middle American person, like, do you hate black people or do you hate the specific type of person or any person, they'll be like, no, no, of course not whatsoever. But do you hate vandals? Do you hate the breakdown of society or whatever? And like, yeah, of course I hate that. And they look, and then they make those two synonymous. And it's a thing where I agree with you. I don't give a fuck about Target, versus like how people feel, My wife, I have friends who like are, or people have met my wife to be like, wow, she's very like woke or whatever. And I'm like, well, she taught in Bed-Stuy for 10, 11 years, and she was around 95% black children, and they grow up feeling this way, and they express that to them. So she's trying to identify language and policies that are going to reinforce the notion that they are more than that. And she needs white people to understand that that's what these people are facing currently. And so I think like the discourse is super important. And I think when we are pitted against each other, like through, media narratives and through social media overreactions and stuff like that, it's easier to keep us divided, because through this whole pandemic and through Black Lives Matter, billionaires have only gotten richer. Where we might have like the first trillionaire coming up soon, and all these corporations that were even attacked through insurance money and through all these PPP and all this sort of stuff, they just keep making more money. And it's like, what was all of this really for? It's to keep us divided, to keep these people in power, in my opinion. And so I think like these sort of changes come through socially. I think it comes through having dialogue. I think it comes through attending Black Lives Matter and seeing what people have to say and having discourse, and then you can move forward in that way. I don't think it's going to come from like necessarily like an authoritative figure. I'd prefer it come from people. The will of the people.
Well, you just told me you like to be yelled at the beginning of the podcast, so
that's why I married my wife. I personally need the authoritarianism. I'm sorry I made this so unfunny.
No,
No, this is super interesting and super important.
I mean, I could be wrong.
I don't like to be yelled at. I don't like anyone be mad at me. Your wife, you find yourself your wife be mad. That's the worst.
She's always mad at me.
If there's a little inkling of it, I'm hovering around Liz like, what's the matter? Are you still mad at me? And she does a silent treatment.
Oh,
Yeah.
like she knows you.
Yeah, the mouth gets real tight, and she looks forward, and her butt sticks out a little more. She goes, tuk, 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 and her hands remain tight by her side, like that, tuk, 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 and she just zigzags up and down the apartment, and it eats me up alive because I'm like, baby, she's like, I'm fine. And she clean, but the only thing I like about when she's mad at me is that she cleans well.
I wish that were the case. My house would be so clean. My place would be awesome. My wife does the opposite. She can't contain it when she's mad. She just does not like hold it back, really. She holds back when she's trying not to like hurt my feelings about something or whatever. But if she's mad, she tells me immediately, even if I'm asleep.
I like that. No respect for the sleep.
No. If I've done wrong, I mean, like it'd have to be an egregious sort of thing. You know what I mean? And it was. But
this guy got caught cheating.
No, I did not. I did not.
Yo, thank God I have that peace of mind. I'm not, can you imagine this this dealing with that married man, just gotta hide shit. Like there's people who live like that. We talk about peace of mind, and I want to, just tap into like peace of mind. And if you got some other shit going on like that, there's no peace of mind. How do people behave that way?
I'm too lazy to cheat.
I also think you just have a lot of unhappy women. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just a lot of unhappy, like a lot of tight-lipped ladies. If you know what I mean? Like, I don't recommend that for you. I don't think that's a good look.
Who the fuck? Like, when I have a friend that admits to me that they're cheating, I'm like, how? Like, I'm saying, like, how the fuck do you do that? And like, so you go into another apartment, you bang your mistress, your side piece out. You smell like that person. Maybe they have golden light. Now you have a string of blonde hair on your head. You got to remove that. You got to be so meticulous.
Yeah.
You got to like plan your day with social media and everything. I talked about my wife's secondary friend taking a picture of me 12 years ago with a shitty phone.
That story.
And sharing it with me, like, how do people get away with that shit?
I don't know. In New York, I feel like there's not a place to cheat either. Like,
you also grew up in the village. You got a whole team of people watching you. I can't go anywhere with you without like 12 people. Like, hey Serge,
It's weird, man.
Yeah,
I don't know how people fucking.
Yeah, if you're a public person like that, it's very difficult, I'm sure. The thing is, I had a buddy of mine I used to hang out with, and he was married, and he was always like living vicariously through like who I was sleeping with, because we had a lot of the same friends or whatever. And we were out one night, and he was like, yeah, we were talking about this one girl. I was like, yeah, I'd never dated her or whatever. He's like, oh, I slept with her. And I'm like,
That's fucking weird.
I'm like, that's just weird, though. It's like, I mean, like, I get it, and it was like a continuous thing, and it's like, man, I would understand fucking up once. I mean, people fuck up or whatever, but it's like, but this is also, I was younger, I was more idealistic, I wasn't married yet. Now that I'm married, I'm like, oh, I get it, man, but like, not really, but like,
this is not a moral podcast. You're fine.
No, but like, it just is a thing of like, I couldn't look at my wife every day and lie to her like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Even
I've
when
been
I
the
was,
other dude too, and I still like, I just think I can't imagine doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how people do it. Even when I was single and I wasn't committed to, and I was young, that shit was nerve wracking because like sleeping with different people. I used to go for an AIDS test every week, and my doctor had enough of my shit.
Oh my God.
My doctor, I love this woman. She was this tall black woman. She's like, Serge. She went like that to me one time with a pen in her mouth. I said, Serge, you're here every weekend. She said, why don't you just wear rubber? She said, better yet, you don't even need to wear rubber. Pull out. This is what my doctor told me. She said, you could pull out. And you're probably not gonna get AIDS because that's your concern, right? Not having kids or that's your concern. That's one thing at a time. She said AIDS. Okay, unless you're having anal sex, you're probably not gonna get AIDS. So you're good. So don't come here getting tested for AIDS weekly. And here's a bag of condoms. Have a great day, sweetie. You look good.
Also, what are you doing being a dirtbag fucking without condoms?
I know. This is early 2000. You know what I'm saying?
We had the information in the early 2000s. It's not like the fucking 70s.
Yo,
I'm not a condom guy either. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm saying when you were single out in the world, like
Yeah, when I was
maybe I had a slip up 100 times or so.
this is why I only dated
That's why I
women.
didn't like being single. I didn't have peace of mind. Shit was nasty.
Yeah.
Hungover, anxious, waking up like, like checking
do
your
you
dick.
have kids? Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have kids all over the village. We don't
I had this one girl like she was like I
Wow.
got getting that the phone call, we got to talk. I'm in the minivan. She's telling me I think my period is late. I said, what you gonna do? Yo, 'cause I got abortion money.
Oh.
Ooh.
You know?
The thing is, you can't say that.
You can't say that on the
Can't
top.
say that. I've been on the other side of that,
Yeah.
being like, my period's late.
Yeah,
And I think it's a test. It's a test to see what the dude
Yes. And I said, I got abortion money quick, fast, up top. I didn't let it marinate. I'm like, oh, let's talk this out. Let's go to the doctor
Yeah, you
together.
don't-
I was like, I got abortion money.
Dirtbag.
man.
Hyper dirtbag.
Well, at least you had an
At least
end
you
result.
paid. At least you paid.
Yeah, at least you had an end result that you.
No,
were
I
looking
said, I'll
for.
give you 50% of the
No, you
abortion money.
motherfucker did
We're
not.
both guilty
You did
of this.
not.
That's
You
true.
did
Last
I got
expense I had to split was a Plan B pill, and that was
That
like
shit's cheap.
I know,
She
but
said
I
that a
don't-
little too fast.
At the time it was like $75 for my end of it or whatever, and like
Oh, she. It's really not that expensive. I think she got a little money off the top of that.
it's fine.
She got some double mint gum, some
Smart.
hairspray,
Yeah, no,
Love
that- yeah,
Good for
some
her.
spice
She got some new
deodorant.
scrunchies.
Yeah, good for her.
I mean, that's fine. Whatever.
Condoms,
I don't
yeah.
have a kid. But it is true. Like that sort of thing it's hard to manage. You know, it is. It's like I can't. I used to date out of my league, or like higher class women. So like I would expect them to be less whorish, so that I could not wear a condom. You know, but
Yeah, isn't it weird when you would have unprotected sex, how many people would just, yeah, I'm okay with that? Like, it was very rare that someone would resist.
Having unprotected
Yeah,
sex.
I mean, yeah. It's like, that's
They're
fine.
not looking at me like, I'm not saying anything. I'm literally
Like,
not saying
that shit
anything.
wowed me. I was like, yeah, in retrospect, at the time, I was like, yeah. But in retrospect, I'm like, yo, how many people were just like, no, we need a condom? I could count the amount of time people like, no, you're wearing a condom. The people are dirtbags.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
For-
true
for sure.
My wife came
And I'm
home.
talking about all different walks of life, teachers, politicians. There was a politician.
When my wife and I were
Imagine being
dating,
fucking a politician.
when my wife and I were dating, she got an STD test at her gyno or whatever, and she was like, "When are you going to get your test?" And I was like, "I just did." Like you. Like,
Oh my god.
Oh, I like that. That was pimp stat.
I mean-
He had his
Something
legs
Kind of
crossed.
romantic about that, to be honest.
That's too confident.
Well, because I'm not cheating. I've never cheated on my wife, even when we were dating, and I will not make a divorce on her that easy. So I am never going to cheat.
Yeah, you get to kick and scream like a toddler.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you are not getting out of this like that. No, we're in a marriage. We're gonna work through our marriage, and if we're strong. We don't have problems like that, but like not any more than any other couple really does. So, but we'll work through them. But and I'm not hoeing out. I'm not stepping out on the marriage.
Is your wife
so.
a big part of your comedy? Do you talk about her and you're like, bitch?
Yeah, she's like a quarter of my act, I think, maybe at this point, But and people ask, like, if you go on the road where more people are often married and have been married for a while, they kind of prefer that sort of comedy. In
Interesting.
A sense. Yeah, well, it's relatable to them. A lot. If you go on the road, you go to a Funny Bone, even if corporate as shit, it's going to be expensive. So you figure your parents, or if they got kids, they got to hire a babysitter, go out, 2 drinks per person, tickets, and then maybe food. You're spending like $150 to go out. They want to be able to relate a little bit. They're looking for like that kind of like the biggest comics in comedy aren't always from New York City. They're like road guys.
You know what I like? I also, a lot of road guys, but the biggest comics are all sober too.
Seemingly a lot of them are now.
Yeah, like I kind of like that.
What do you mean?
What I like, that's kind of threw that in there because it was like when you said that, it's good, like the good comics. Not to say they're sober like they're in recovery, but they just they don't drink or do drugs. Yeah, you gotta be fucking sharp to do this shit. Like Louis C.K. doesn't drink or fucking get bent before he goes on stage. Bill Burr,
right?
Like fucking you look all the top dogs. These fucking guys are clean. They might have a drink. Gaffigan,
Brian Regan.
Yeah. Chappelle. I mean, he might smoke or whatever, but for the most part, Chappelle gets fucked up. Chappelle gets fucked up.
He gets fucked up.
He gets fucked up. But Kevin Hart, there's a lot of guys out there. I feel like back in the days, guys used to get loaded, and then it was like the story of them falling apart. I feel like comics have stepped it up that way. Where,
it used to be when I started comedy, I was a real drunk, and I drank a lot, and that was part of the appeal. And
Me too.
In order to make it within the business aspect of it, or to do it long term, I've had to quit drinking.
you run out of gas quick.
Yeah, I was burning the candle at both
you have
ends.
like brain fog on like stage, and you can't, or the timing is off.
You're not writing new shit. You're not turning over new material. You're spending 40 hours a week drinking and recovering. You're not making it to the meetings. You're not sharp.
Eating
You gotta
bad,
get a point.
Not coming up with anything creative. And then when I was drinking, it was way more easy for me to turn on an audience member.
What was that?
So you looked uncomfortable, so I was like, you want to switch seats?
No,
Okay,
I'm just. I want you to finish your thought, but we do have to wrap this up because, be frank, Sound Lounge Studio, they're gonna be mad at me because I went over twice. Twice.
Well, I'll text tomorrow.
Text Mara. Mara's hardcore. I sent her a text. And she's like, I'm working with Derek on the first pod, and then I was like, oh, so you take my guest first? Like there's like ownership over you, like. I was a little upset. I was like, I want that fresh energy.
I went out and I grabbed a coffee, so I'm much funnier on this one.
I love Mara. How cool is Mara?
She's the best.
And which, by the way, I want to say Mara because that's the way I talk, but she corrected me. She's the type that will correct you.
Yeah.
As she should, yeah.
She's like, it's Mara. I'm like, fucking you.
Nah, she's the best. She is super
She got me
cool.
in the building. She's awesome.
Yeah. This space is awesome. This is where I met Lorenzo Lamas.
Who's Lorenzo Lamas?
Renegade.
I have no idea.
He was in the 90s. He was a syndicated TV action star, but he was in Grease too.
I'm just really young, so I don't remember.
Yeah, you are only like 27, 28. I'm also a nerd over crap like that.
What movie was he in?
He was Grease 2. No, he's one of those guys that's it's like bragging you met Kevin Sorbo. Like like who gives a shit? I don't.
Yo, you know who I met? Blanche from the Golden Girls.
Oh,
yeah.
What was it?
I
Rue
spelled-
McClanahan.
He came into the boxing gym?
No, so I was watching off-Broadway play called Addicted, and ironically enough, I had a stuffy nose from cocaine I did the night before with a girlfriend who kind of knew that I was using drugs at the time, and I got there late because I was hungover, and I'm walking through a tight aisle, and I spilled iced coffee all over Blanche Devereaux from The Golden Girls. And I was like, oh my God, I am so sorry. She just like, looked straight, didn't give me a fucking, and she's like, and I'm giving her like napkins, and the napkins are so, it's dripping on her pinky. She said, that'd be all. That'd be all.
That'll be all.
And I was like this. Right? It was a drama, play like, and that stuff, I'm breathing out my mouth.
Oh.
Yeah. Yo, Derek, man, I'm so we finally get to meet. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, man.
And hopefully we get to do the Sojo gig,
Goals.
which, by the way, Sojo is a producer out in Pennsylvania, and he was just getting started when the pandemic hit. Now that the
Blown up.
he's blowing up because all the fucking comics are going out there. He's a big fish in a small pond. Yo, he's getting mad props. And I'm like, yo, he deserves those props. And I've worked with him for years, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, like, the motherfucker, what he did was get a tent and a heater, and he's killing the game.
Amazing.
So all you need is a few tools to make it happen and commitment, because you could have easily bailed out, right? You could have easily been like, oh, this shit's fucked up. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm going to wait it out. Whatever. You notice how my little finger doesn't work? It'll help me scratch my beard here. So, yo, congrats to him. And you know what? Now I'm inspired to give him a call, and maybe we could do the show.
Hell yeah.
Right?
I'm
That'd be dope.
I'm down.
Meg, thank you so much for joining us
It was so
again.
nice to meet
Nice to meet you as well, Meg.
Yeah.
And that's the DBS podcast, man. We out here in Sound Lounge, B Frank Network, Peasky Whiskey. Thank you all. Love y'all.